Breaking news to tell you about at this hour. Good evening and welcome to News Center at 5:30. I'm Amy Barnett.
And I'm Jared Hall. 2 students are injured as a result of a school shooting in New York City. News Center's Alyssa Rossame joins us live at the news desk with more.
Alyssa, do we know what prompted the shootings?
Jared and Amy, we're still unsure what was the cause of the shooting. It occurred today at around 2 o'clock at Martin Luther King Jr. High School in Manhattan. At least 2 students, a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, were shot. Their injuries are not life-threatening. The main suspect is now in police custody. CNN reports say the suspect is a student of the high school and may have slipped into the building through a side door. While the motivation for this attack is unknown, it is significant to note that today marks the 73rd anniversary of Martin Luther King's birthday. We spoke with students on the Ball State campus to see what they thought could motivate school shootings.
People have really odd reasons why they do things like this, and I really don't think it's racially motivated.
I think it can be for a lot of motivations. Like this one, if it is racially motivated, it would just be ignorance and people not really being aware of other people's rights and not respecting the other people.
Jared and Amy will, of course, be closely following the story, and we'll have the latest on the shootings tonight on News Center at 9:30.
Now, Alyssa, what will the school be doing to help those students who witnessed this shooting?
Well, Jared, counselors will be brought in tomorrow to try to comfort those who may have witnessed the shooting.
What a sad story. Thanks, Alyssa Rossame, live in the Update Center tonight. And according to government sources, President Bush has agreed to let the Justice Department charge John Walker in civilian court. Walker is the American who was captured along with Taliban soldiers in a prison in northern Afghanistan. The government says Walker is being charged with conspiracy to kill Americans overseas, providing support and resources to foreign terrorist organizations, and engaging in criminal transactions with the Taliban. Ashcroft says America has left no stone unturned for the hunt for terrorists.
Looked attacks on America when they were made by foreign nationals. We cannot overlook attacks on America when they come from United States citizens.
We'll have the latest on the war on terrorism tonight on News Center at 9:30.
An update now on the situation in Afghanistan. U.S. warplanes are back on the ground, and a series of hidden arsenals is now out of al-Qaeda's hands. CNN's Bill Hemmer has more details from the Kandahar airport.
After 8 days of intense bombing in eastern Afghanistan, the U.S. says it has now flattened a large terrorist training camp. The Pentagon indicating that 60 structures have been flattened above ground and 50 tunnels have been closed and more possibly on the way in that same region. A report says a dozen, possibly more, just like it may still exist and they may be the next target. No reports, though, of bombing in the past 24 hours, and as always, the U.S. says it goes into looking for these caves and tunnels for more intelligence on the al-Qaeda network here in Afghanistan and simply around the world for that matter as well. Back in Kandahar, another reminder today of how dangerous this country can be. The Marines say they picked up the identification of 7 people lurking on the perimeter here. They went in to check it out, and what they found was a weapons cache located in an abandoned building. In addition, they found mortar fuses and rocket-propelled grenades under crawl spaces inside of these abandoned buildings. They were blown up, flattened as well. In addition, they say several cave openings were also located. Those have been imploded and closed as well. By the way, this was the same area where the Marines believe that sniper fire, machine gun fire, originated back on Thursday night when the first shipment of detainees were sent out to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. On the detainee front, 19 more came in last night. The total on deck now, 380. We anticipate all 380 to eventually make their way to Guantanamo Bay. Bill Hemmer, CNN, Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Senator Tom Daschle, along with other lawmakers, are praising Pakistan's president for speaking out against terrorism. Daschle and his delegation held a news conference today after meeting with President Pervez Musharraf. The lawmakers pledged more U.S. involvement in Pakistan. Meanwhile, the intense U.S.-led airstrikes on an al-Qaeda trading camp in eastern Afghanistan have subsided. The Pentagon says the operation there is coming to a conclusion. And this just in, the Palestinian Authority says it has detained a leader of faction linked to Israeli cabinet minister's assassination.
Top military brass turned out for the first U.S. awards ceremony recognizing service in Afghanistan. The event at Fort Campbell, Kentucky included the presentation of Bronze Star Awards and Purple Heart medals to Army and Air Force Special Operations troops. Some of the honorees fought at the crossroads town of Mazar-e-Sharif in Afghanistan. Others were recognized for special achievement in defeating Taliban forces and fighting for the airport at Kandahar. Soldiers who sustained wounds in the combat received the Purple Heart medals.
U.S. military officials have their eye on their new focus in the war on terrorism. U.S. warships have been patrolling the Somalian coast to prevent al-Qaeda fighters from taking refuge in this country. But Somalis say they harbor no terrorists and are urging the United States not to put their country next on its bombing list. The U.S. military was in the North African nation in 1993, where 18 U.S. Rangers were killed in the failed attempt to capture Somali warlord Mohammed Farid Adid. And taking a break from news right now, Katie Collins is in with weather.
That's right. We had a few little scattered flurries around today. Right. Is that going to stick around?
We did see some snowfall today, not very much, of course. It was just flurries, and I will be back later with the forecast about that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Katie. Well, a yearly tradition takes place tonight in Indianapolis, but not an event all are looking forward to. Governor O'Bannon will give his State of the State address this evening, and many say his speech is likely to have a tone of urgency. Topping the governor's agenda, the state's budget deficit. Officials estimate the deficit to top $1 billion in the next year and a half. That's around the same time homeowners' tax bills are expected to rise because of court-ordered changes in property tax assessments. Many expect O'Bannon to tell lawmakers that tax increases to help address those problems cannot wait another year. O'Bannon has spoken out on the same issues in the past months, and those attempts to help the state's economy haven't generated much apparent support for his plans in the State House.
An Indiana woman is being accused of putting her 6-year-old daughter's body in the trash. Christina Suttle's body has not been found, but investigators say is likely in a landfill where trash from Fort Wayne is dumped. They are planning to search the landfill. Court documents show Christina, who had cerebral palsy, died in December at her mother's apartment. Her 22-year-old mother, Kenitra Suttle, says she did not alert authorities about the death of her daughter because she was afraid she would be blamed. And the murder suspect in a multiple murder case will be extradited to Oregon to face his charges of killing his wife and 3 children. Christian Longo was captured over the weekend in Mexico and signed a document today in Houston agreeing to the extradition. Longo was on one of America's most wanted lists. The bodies of his wife and their 3 children were found in shallow water off Oregon's coast. Longo's parents currently reside in Indianapolis.
A convicted murderer already serving a 70-year prison sentence will serve more time for bribing guards to smuggle tobacco. A judge added 8 years to Dwight Jeffers' sentence yesterday. Jeffers is accused of persuading guards Mark McCoy and Jimmy Noble to smuggle tobacco into the Pendleton Correctional Facility. McCoy and Noble were charged with bribery and given suspended sentences. They have since resigned as correctional officers. Both men testified at Jeffers' trial and said they received between $3,000 and $10,000 to bring tobacco into the prison. The Department of Corrections has banned the use of tobacco in state correctional facilities. Well, coming up on NewsCenter at 5:30, a pilot for U.S. Airways finds himself with a little extra time off after comments he made at an airport security checkpoint. Plus, McDonald's all across Australia have shut their doors. We'll tell you why. All that and more when we return. Stay tuned. The reward in the anthrax by mail case is growing. Postal officials say within the next week it'll be around $2 million. Originally, a $1 million reward was being offered for information, but a mail advertising company has added more. Between the cost of sanitizing mail and the lost business, the Postal Service is more than $500 million in debt. And anthrax is also causing problems overseas. An anthrax scare prompted the closure of several McDonald's in Australia. More than 30 of the fast food outlets received suspicious letters today, some of them containing white powder. Officials say it was decided to temporarily close these restaurants while authorities investigate. The remaining McDonald's outlets were put on alert. Well, a pilot who allegedly made inappropriate comments at a Philadelphia airport security checkpoint has been suspended. U.S. Airways says the pilot was frustrated when he apparently made a statement that was terrorist-like.
Tamsin Fidel has our story.
No one would answer the door at the house of pilot Elwood Munir. An airstrip that sits behind his home in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, is empty. But But not long after we went to the door, someone pulled out of the driveway and wouldn't stop to talk. It all comes one day after Eyewitness News got exclusive video of the U.S. Airways pilot as he's led in handcuffs to be questioned by police, accused of making inappropriate comments at an airport security checkpoint, 2 times to the security officer and 2 times to police. Today, Munir was charged with making terroristic threats and disorderly conduct. He was released from jail this morning. Sources say he had to go through the checkpoint 6 to 7 times and threw his bag down, saying, quote, "I took everything off and I still can't get through. I could come through in my underwear and still take down the airplane." The FBI is still looking at filing federal charges, and the FAA could suspend or revoke his license. U.S. Airways could also take action. Neighbors say they often see and hear the pilot flying in and out of here on a daily basis, and in his spare time when he's not out flying, he's in his hangar restoring old planes. This couple lives across the street. They were surprised by the fact their neighbor was making headlines.
I think I would be surprised that he said that. He would know about the security. I'm surprised that he said it.
I think he was joking. If you did say anything, you didn't mean anything by it.
But one look at the consequences he's facing, and there's no doubt federal, state, and local officials took him seriously.
President Bush ended his international trade campaign in New Orleans today. He finished up his 3-state tour in the port city. The president says agriculture and other exports moving from the Midwest down the Mississippi River will help America's economy. He is also using the trip to lobby support from Democrats for his proposed tax cut package. His trip began at a John Deere factory in Illinois and a feed distribution center in Missouri yesterday.
Investigators looking into troubled energy company Enron say they have many questions concerning the political influence company executives wielded in Washington. Shortly after President Bush appointed Curtis Hebert Jr. as chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission last January, Hebert refused to comply with Enron chief Ken Lay's request to change his position on energy regulation in the South. Members of the congressional committee looking into the Enron failure want to know who knew what and when about the company's failure.
I guess I found it somewhat discomforting that I would be in a phone conversation and that would come up and be said, but at the same time, I didn't give Ken Lay any more weight than I would the CEO of a co-op in Tallahatchie, Mississippi.
An executive of Enron Corporation warned last August that a wave of accounting scandals could bring down the energy trading company. Well, coming up after the break, an all-important forecast. Is the snow going to be around?
It was cold today.
It was.
It was cold, and I will let you know all about that and the rest of your week right after the break. We're going to start out this evening with a look at the current temperatures around the area. In South Bend, we are seeing 32 degrees, same in Fort Wayne. And Lafayette, 36 degrees, Muncie's at 34. Indianapolis is a little warmer at 39, Terre Haute at 40, and Evansville is at 45 degrees. However, outside with the wind chill, the temperatures aren't quite as nice as they may sound. South Bend, 23, Fort Wayne, 21. Lafayette and Muncie are both, well, Lafayette's 28, Muncie's 23. Indianapolis is at 28 degrees with the wind chill. Terre Haute, 33 degrees, and Evansville at 38. So there is quite a bit of difference in the temperatures with the wind chill. Currently outside, we are seeing some snow flurries. Temperature's 31 degrees, but it feels like it's 21 degrees out there. Wind is west at 15 miles per hour. In the satellite picture, we can see this inland flow of clouds and moist air, and it extends all the way from the South Pacific all the way up into the northern Atlantic. However, to the south, we are seeing clear skies. In our radar, we can see there are some scattered showers and snow showers out into the western part of the United States. And off to the east, we are looking at a winter weather system that started out this morning over the Great Lakes and now extends all the way up into Maine. It's not dropping a whole lot of precipitation around the area. Nothing is seen more than really an inch of snow today. And for a closer look, in our area, we really didn't see more than flurries, but what was in the Great Lake area this morning has now moved down into Ohio, and they're going to see maybe a little bit of accumulation, but maybe not even that. Tonight we're going to see cloudy skies, low 27 degrees. Normal low for this time of year is 16 degrees, so we are above average. Wind is going to be at 15 miles per hour. For tomorrow morning, we could see some more snow flurries. Temperature is going to be 31 degrees. Wind will be southwest 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow afternoon, we are going to see some snow showers. High is going to be 36 degrees, normal high is 32, wind's going to be southwest at 15 miles per hour. For our 3-day outlook, we are seeing some partly cloudy skies, and at least we're going to be seeing the sun come back in. It's going to be 33 degrees on Thursday, 32 Friday, and we're going to reach 35 on Saturday. The lows are going to all be around the 20-degree mark. So it's not exactly what we would hope for. It should be warm weather to spend time outside with, but at least it's not completely horrible to walk
Right, some
in.
of those cold temperatures I don't mind, but it's the wind, that 15 miles an hour that really
that's what
gets
makes
you.
it cold.
Right, and we're going to be seeing winds like that for the next week or so. So
boy.
expect the wind chill.
Bundle up, put your scarf over your face.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Brian Days is in with sports. Brian, we have a big game tomorrow night. Men's basketball playing Bowling Green, and I heard they have a good record.
Actually, they're undefeated in the MAC East, and so we're going to take a preview of that when sports comes back. After playing the nation's top team the first week of the season, you're probably thinking there's no game that could be bigger. But oh, how wrong you are. Tomorrow night's matchup against Bowling Green exceeds the Duke contest in every way and could possibly make or break the Cards' hope for a MAC title, and just might help them regain some national attention. Consider the following. Bowling Green is on a 12-game winning streak, including 5 straight wins on the road. They've already taken down UNC Wilmington, Michigan, and Ole Miss this year. They're off to their best start since 1944 when they started 19-1, and oh yeah, they're first place in the MAC East with 3-0 mark. But they've struggled against conference opponents so far, most recently against Central Michigan, when the Falcons needed a rally in the final 2 minutes to beat the Chips by just a point. And if you remember, the Cards beat Central handedly last week at Worthern thanks to 24 points from Chris Williams, and the Cards have to pick themselves up, or have picked themselves up since losing to Kent, winning their last 3 in a row, including their last 2 at home, to climb to the top of the MAC West Division. And the last 2 times these 2 teams met nearly a year ago today, Ball State came away with a victory, 62-59. And while the men will have their hands full at home tomorrow night, the women's team will not have it too much easier at Ohio. The Lady Cards travel next door to take on the Bobcats in what proves to be another matchup that could set the conference tone for either team. The Cards are 10-4 overall this year, but have not fared well in MAC play, most recently blowing an 11-point lead in the second half at Northern Illinois last Saturday to fall to 2-1 in the West. The Cats have seen similar fate, however, dropping their last MAC contest at home to a surprisingly Miami team this past weekend. The Cards have won 4 of their last 5 on the road, which is always a good thing when you're not playing at home. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. And after spending 6 years transforming the Tampa Bay Bucks into a championship contender, Bucks head coach Tony Dungy was let go Monday night. Now it looks like he's the likely candidate to take over the Colts in Indianapolis. ESPN says even though he's looking at the Carolina Panthers position, the move to Indy would make much more sense. The Bucks went 54-42 and went to the playoffs 4 times under Dungy's reign, which led many people to believe Dungy didn't deserve the boot. However, in these 4 playoff appearances, the Bucks managed to score just 6 points. He probably won't be screaming out signals, but doctors have given Kurt Warner the okay to call signals on Sunday when the Rams play the Packers. Team medical personnel checked Warner's bruised vocal cord yesterday, but won't let him speak until Thursday to make sure he'll be ready for the game. And after a not-so-impressive showing on the free agent market, Barry Bonds will stay in the city by the bay, for a price, of course. The winning bid, a 5-year deal worth a sweet $60 million. But the deal could be shaved to just 4 years and $72 million if Bonds doesn't total 500 plate appearances by the end of the 2006 season. The deal also includes a 10-year personnel service contract, so Barry will be sure to have all the luxuries of a struggling retiree after his playing days are over.
Team member of San Francisco and the city of San Francisco, And I want to do everything in my heart and soul to bring a World Series team here in San Francisco, and whatever it takes for me to help out Peter and this organization and the fans here in the city of San Francisco, I'm willing to do from the bottom of my heart.
And also to go back to the Bowling Green Ball State game tomorrow, NewsCenter will be live at 5:30 and 9:30 at Worthing Arena.
Sounds good.
Should be exciting.
Okay.
Thanks.
Katie Collins is up next with your Wake Up forecast.
And we'll also let you know what we're working on for tonight at 9:30. Stay tuned.
And here's Katie Collins with one last look at weather.
Let's take a quick look at what we have for tonight. It's going to be cloudy with a low of 27 degrees, west wind of 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow we're going to see snow showers, high of 36 degrees, wind will be southwest at 15 miles per hour. And for a 3-day outlook, Thursday, high of 33, Friday, high of 32 degrees and sunny. And Saturday it will be cloudy again with a high of 35 degrees, lows all around the 20s. So again, it's going to be a chilly week, but at least we're going to see the sun peek through.
That's what I was going to say. At least we have the sun.
Good. Okay, thanks, Katie. Well, finally tonight, here's what we're working on for NewsCenter at 9:30. We'll have the latest on the school shooting at Martin Luther King Jr. High School in New York City, including the conditions of those injured. Plus, we'll have a complete recap of tonight's State of the State address. Be sure to tune in for this and more for NewsCenter at 9:30. Well, thanks for joining us for NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm Amy Barnett.
And I'm Jared Hall. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN Student Bureau. We'll see you tonight at 9:30. Have a good evening.